Hey, now we got the microphone on, even better. So anyway, we're a little bit further away from the camera. We're gonna try something a little bit different, something a little bit more relaxed, and then we'll explain this later because it's gonna snow. We're gonna look down here at the camera. It's going to snow. That's right. So today is Friday, January 28th. Oh, a little further away. Need to make the numbers bigger so I can read it. January 28th, 2022. The end of January is here. Incredible, is it not? So that means we're deep into winter or working our way through winter. I know a few more months may come when we get some snow, but this weekend may be the big one for us. Could be starting tonight, going into tomorrow, Saturday, and going through. So the question is, are you ready? What does that have to do with business? Well, it has to do with a lot of things, right? Are you ready? Are you ready for the challenge? Are you ready for the opportunity? In this case, it's snow. What are you going to do with it? You're hiring a plow, someone to clear out your driveway, your street, in front of your business. Are you ready out there with your own snow shovel? Going to shovel it out? You got your snow blower ready? No, I don't. Okay, sorry about that, hon. If you're listening in here, I didn't do that yet. But then again, I like to shovel. Why? Actually, it's a little bit of thinking time. Kind of like going for a walk. Gives me that opportunity to kind of figure out what's going on. So it's somewhat of a little bit of a break. Yeah, Mike, I was going to say snow is a photo opportunity without a doubt. So I actually have a thought as to what I'm going to do for my photo opportunity tomorrow. Is something a little silly. We'll see how that all works out. And yeah, what this is, I got my snowsuit on. I'm all ready to go. That's what this thing is. Proud to say that I still fit in the same snowsuit I've had for years. That's right. That's a good thing too, is it not? That's part of the opportunity, part of the challenge. Keeping yourself in shape in order to do it. So I did have a couple of conversations. These were sidebar conversations, about the snow, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, how you're going to deal with it. It's like, some folks like they're so looking forward to it. Others just so despise it. Others, well, I think there's the embracing. Mike, I think you fall into the I think you fall into the embracing thing kind of a thing. Look, it's enjoyable to get out there, get a little exercise doing something different. And by all means, folks, if this is a light snow, it's a lot different than if it's a heavy snow. Given the fact I think it's going to be really cold, I'm hoping I think that this will wind up being a light snow. Yes, thanks for the compliment there. Hopefully, this will be a light snow, easy to push. So we'll go that way. But it's always a challenge when those snow plows come through. So, then it becomes a lot of snow. But anyhow, it doesn't really make a difference. So the question is, are you ready? Get myself mentally prepared for this thing, physically prepared for it. That's not an overnight deal, but it goes. But in business, isn't it not the same thing? Can't we just make an analogy with this snow? Anytime that you're doing anything is like, are you ready? Are you ready? I guess maybe this falls into the world of they get lucky kind of a thing. Oh, I can't believe how lucky that person got. Really? Do you really believe in luck? Or do you really believe in long-term preparation in order for luck to happen? Do you believe in the fact that we put ourselves into situations where we get quote unquote lucky, where all of a sudden that big contract falls into your lap, the perfect partner falls into your lap, or you get an opportunity to do something that's different, a bit more exciting, and you just do it? Yeah. Nah, there's always a long-term approach to everything. The overnight success. That's another winning. That's another winning comment too. Oh, they're an overnight success. Bull crud. I use the word crud. I probably could say anything, right? But bull crud. Really, for somebody to become an overnight success, I mean, that is like purely luck, right? But not the case. Even these folks that you'll wind up on some of these talent shows, where they go out there, they sing, and then they're found, or an actor or an actress is just found, when they're working at some restaurant someplace, or they're working out, in some public venue where they get seen, some theater that they're working in, right? Some off Broadway theater, and they get noticed. You think they get lucky? No. That comes from an awful lot of hard work, energy, effort, dedication to put themselves into that place where they're able to be seen. Obviously, and probably a lot easier to visualize, is those that are looking to pursue that acting career. Look, to get found in a restaurant and say, hey, do you want to be an actor? All right, maybe that is a little bit of luck that comes along with the person walking into the restaurant, but certainly not if you're somebody who's out there singing at different places and doing a lot of stuff for free, just to get that visibility. And that's actually become a lot easier now with everything on the internet. But those that are out there and they're singing at all kinds of different places, or they're speaking at all kinds of different places. Boy, I could tell you stories on the speaking side of things. Or an actor, actress, that's doing these theater shows someplace. They're putting themselves into the position where they can be seen. But even those folks that are found while they're working in a restaurant, look, I think a lot of folks in the movie industry, performance industry, will say, understand that a lot of folks do get their jobs, so they do work their way through their acting classes, in some of those jobs, like the waiter, waitresses, those kind of positions. So maybe they're looking. Maybe those folks that are in those waiter, waitresses positions are looking to work at restaurants that are on Broadway or in Hollywood or in places where they can be seen by folks that are already in the industry. And maybe those waiters, waitresses are actually performing a little bit when they are doing their thing with serving food, dealing with customers, and interacting. We all put our game face on when we're doing something. Do you think it's any different there? No. Are they putting on a show? I don't think that's the case. But they are putting themselves into a position where they can be found. They are putting themselves into a world where their visibility has increased. They're making the effort on an ongoing daily basis. They're willing to sacrifice a good amount along the way in order to get lucky. And they are ready for that. And that really becomes the thing. All right. So, Dave, again, we tie it back in with the weather and the snow. All right. We ready? I got a feeling, Mike has got his cameras all ready to go. Something tells me there's a filter out there to deal with the snow. Got the settings, has practiced quite a bit, has taken an awful lot of photos in the snow. And it's a whole different world, folks, if you've never taken photos in the snow. That white balance thing, it's much more of a challenge. Catching a snowflake in midair, much more of a challenge to go and do. And some of those photos can be absolutely terrific. So, Mike, not to put the pressure on, I'm looking forward to the photos that you do wind up taking. But it's not lucky. It's not just clicking the camera and see what happens. No. Our cell phones have made that life quite a bit easier, but that's not taking a good photo. Taking a good photo takes a lot of hard work, energy, and effort and time in order to use that camera and use that camera properly. Being successful in business is the same thing. It takes a lot of hard work, time, energy, and effort in order to put yourself into that position where you are able to achieve that quote unquote overnight success. Yeah. So how do you do that? How are you doing that? Look, the folks that have been interacting with more than others have to do much more on the communication side, the speaking side of things. Been involved with Comedy to Go in the past too. A lot of those folks are looking to become comics, and they are looking to pursue careers, some acting careers too. I gotta tell you, if you're looking to get comfortable on stage in any kind of a situation, There is nothing, I can tell you, nothing compares to getting on a comedy stage and trying to make people laugh at the moment and trying to make people laugh consistently. And I mean consistently. There's a formula out there. I think it's like every 20 seconds or so, you should be getting a laugh. And it's no longer the one liners. It's not the Honey Youngman thing. You're telling stories, and you're telling stories that are appropriate to the audience. You got to read the audience. And the time I've gotten on stage doing that thing, it's always been a nonprofit audience supporting a nonprofit, stuff like that. So it's always been a very friendly audience. A couple of occasions not, but it's still been a very um, friendly audience. Never in a bar. There's just no way. But if you really, really want to become a great speaker, somebody who's got unbelievable stage presence, somebody's got incredible confidence, and you can do comedy, pure comedy, in a bar setting, dealing with hecklers and stuff like that, man, that's unbelievable. That's preparation for success. So when you do get that phone call from someone that's looking to book you for a corporate event, and you do get that opportunity for that keynote, you're thinking, man, I got this. You've got the message in you to do it. You've got the confidence in you because you've been through so many different things, so many different audiences, so many challenging situations that you've got it together. That's confidence. Then all of a sudden, someone will say, "Oh yeah, you're now an overnight success." Bull. It's not the case. You might have seen that success in the success portion of your path in a quicker form, in a fast form, not a quicker format. You might have seen the success portion of your growth in a fast moment, but not if you take a look at the entire process of what you've been doing. And we don't do that, do we? Oh no. We're looking to become overnight sensations on YouTube and TikTok and all the rest of that stuff. Looking for everybody to say, oh, you got to meet that person because, and you're trying to do it really quickly. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way from a networking standpoint. What's the first thing you got to be done? It has to happen. People have to like you. You come across as the know-it-all and the everything, and you got the product of the day and all the rest of that stuff. That's not the way to start. That's sales. That's pure sales. People have to get to know you, like you, trust you, and they're trusting you. They're trusting you because then when you say that this is the proper product or service for them, or this is the proper way of going about doing something, they're not trusting the product. They're trusting you. They're trusting you, especially the small business owners. They're trusting you for that. That takes time. That takes an awful lot of time sometimes when you're doing something. How do you speed that process up? Well, if you come out of the gate, come out of school, high school, college, or additional training, and you have that designation on the end of your name, hey, that's something. That'll speed things up because that gives you that. Let's use the word superficial. That's not really the word. I don't want to use the word superficial. It gives you an immediate outlook by other people that you have the credibility of whatever that designation is. Do you? Oh, I've seen some people take tests. They're just fantastic test takers. They're good. Get the designations. They got all those crazy initials at the end of their name. All of them. Just goes on and on and on and on and on. And then when you look in their bio, they list out all these schools they went to. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But the question is, can they really do it? Can they really do it? What about the practical application of whatever that is? That's where your credibility really comes from. Not just oh, you must be good because you've got all those designations. Think about that. I am sure you do come up with a few people in mind that have got all these designations, but it's like you wouldn't use them for anything. because they don't get it. They don't listen. They don't understand. Basically, you don't really trust them in the way that you need to trust them. That's that's the growth phase of the whole thing. That's really where the effort has to come in on your side in order to get that out. So now how do you do that? On the speaking side, the professional speaking side of things, right? You want to be a professional speaker? It's really easy. It's really easy. One, you got to speak a lot. Two, you got to get testimonials from people. And three, you need a sizzle reel. Okay, now all of a sudden you're prepared to go out and get that phone call from somebody, some business that's looking for you, because now they could see they have this, oh, and then all of a sudden, boom, you go from, barely getting by, maybe making some amount of money. You go from the standpoint of working a day job to all of a sudden, whoa, you're now a professional speaker. Woo! How's that for overnight success? It's fantastic. You went from making nothing to a day job to now all of a sudden you're a professional speaker. Rock on. But how long did it take you to do that? How long does it take you to make that sizzle reel? And you can equate this to your own businesses here. How long does it take you for you to build your own sizzle reel, your own highlight? Again, we'll use the word professional speaker. So professional speaker sizzle reel will include an audience that laughs, if you're looking to add humor into it, that laughs, that's engaged, that's leaning forward, that's big, right? You can't have a video that shows no people and expect a company that's got a big event coming up with 500 or 1,000 people to hire you, because they're going to ask you for that video, and you're not going to have any video that shows you in front of a large group of people. Chicken and the egg kind of thing. What comes first? So you need that. It takes a long time to get that because you need to build up to it. Now, for your own business, how do you do that? If you are in a business, I'm going to go generic here. If you're in the technology, computer technology business, and you're advising people on technology issues, then your website, your sizzle, you wouldn't have a sizzle reel, but your website would be your sizzle reel, will have a lot of tidbits, a lot of information on there about various things, either things that you've written, things that you've spoken about in your front of a group. Maybe you've been on podcast, radio shows, TV shows. Maybe you've written a book. All of those kinds of things will equate to your quote unquote equivalent of a sizzle reel. But you need all that stuff to get hired by a big corporation, to get hired by a larger company, to get hired for a bigger contract. It takes a long time to do that. So you got to build up to those things. You will build up to those things because you have the confidence and the vision in order to do that. So that sizzle reel needs to be there, or the equivalent of. Going back another step further, but how do you do that? Well, if you need to be standing in front of an audience, you best be confident about yourself that you're standing in front of an audience. If you're putting together all that information for your technology company, you know what? You best be confident when you're doing that too. And confidence can come in a couple of different ways, and how you achieve that could come in a couple of different ways. One is that if you're going to be on these podcasts, radio shows, or whatever, you need to sound confident. I'm assuming you know the information, right? You've taken the tests. You've got all those designations, but you need to sound confident when you are the guests on those shows. One. Two, if you're putting a video together, your video needs to also, and if it's just a little bit more product explanation, maybe it's done with a voiceover, not even you, it's all good, but that's got to be good. That's got to be done in a proper way. So that also means that you need to be confident in hiring people, in making that happen. Includes articles. You may write an article, but maybe you want somebody to help you rewrite that article, somebody to edit that article. You're not a writer, you're a tech person. Sometimes we get a little carried away with those multi-syllable words, right? Don't want to do that. Got to figure out who the audience is. Now, look, if you're an IT person and you're selling to other companies and IT companies and things like that, it's a business to business. That's one kind of writing that takes place. If you're an IT company and you go into consumer, it's another kind of writing skill that has to happen. And if you're not a writer, but you're very intelligent what you do, and you lay out all that information, and then you have to find somebody that understands what you're trying to accomplish and that has got a personality or a writing style, that works with you. That's a good amount of work also. Got to know who you are is what the common thread is on that one. Got to know who you are and what personality you want that article to take, you want that video to take, you want that how to whiteboard animation, and what kind of personality you want that to take. So you got to be confident in you making that happen and being able to convey it out, which really comes down to the whole key thing, the why. Why are you getting started on all of this stuff? Why is it that you're doing things? Look, it's so easy to pawn things off on somebody else. It's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to have somebody else do something for you. Or it's just so easy to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I started working on this project for a long time, from working on whatever project for a long time, wanted to create something and just say, it's just not worth it. It's so hard. I'm doing this now for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and getting no place with it. And you're like, oh, forget it. Or you're just in some situation where, like, it's just everything just becomes an uphill battle. And you just like, forget it and just drop it. That person will never get lucky. Just never get lucky. So it all still comes down to your why. Even shoveling the snow. I enjoy it. It's quiet. It's like meditation. I like that change of pace. It's somewhat my why when it comes to the whole thing. And that is why I like to shovel the snow instead of the snowblower. It's noisy with the snowblower and all the rest of that stuff. Go out there with the shovel, do it a couple of times during the day, come in, enjoy a nice hot bowl of soup, maybe a cup of hot cocoa, tea, coffee, whatever. You want to know something? That's just nice. It's a change of pace. It's just an absolute change of pace. Just like if I like to, go for a walk, it's just an absolute change of pace. I find that for me, I find that relaxing. That change of pace, why, is really important to me. Even doing this thing, I just find this to be a nice break during the day and go and doing something like this. I find this to be enjoyable. That's where that goes. So why are you doing what you're doing? What is it that you want to really do? And how important is it for you to really do it? Especially if it's a side gig. It ain't easy. It is certainly not an easy thing to do. How do you make that side gig into something that really becomes something? And it's going to take forever to make it happen. Well, you need to have the vision. You need to have the confidence to make the thing work. You need to have the resources together in order to do it. But you need to have what is the most important thing is you need to have the staying power. You need to have the staying power to stick with it. And it is not the easiest thing in the world to do. How do you stay with something? Now, we can equate this to money. If it's something that you're spending money on a monthly basis, it costs money. Obviously, as a brilliant statement of the day. If you're spending money on it, it costs money. All right, quote me on that one, huh? Well, that's a winning quote. But so that money is now coming out of something else, someplace, unless you got all kinds of money, but it's still coming out of something somewhere. How long are you willing to spend that $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month in order to make that goal become a reality where you become that quote unquote overnight success? It's a couple of folks I know that have allocated a certain amount of money to their side gig, and they will continue on with that. And that side gig means so much to them, or that special project means so much to them that it doesn't matter how long it takes. They are going to continue at doing that because they enjoy the journey. You've seen that happen with hobbies. How many folks have got hobbies that are expensive hobbies? They're spending an awful lot of money on it. They're spending an awful lot of time on those hobbies. I was watching this video the other day about shipwrecks up in Canada. And this guy built a model of a ship that was one of the ships that had gotten wrecked, but he built a model of the ship all the way down to the little people on the crew, I should say, that would have been on board. It's all painted. The details are absolutely incredible. He worked on it for years. As he put it, 10 or 12 hours a day, he would work on it for years. And his comment that most people would have given up and not completed it. He had the staying power. In his case, I don't know if it was time. I don't know if it was money, but it was time. His time was the big sacrifice for his staying power. Which was a sacrifice from other people too. He's 10 to 12 hours a day in his workshop. He's not interacting with too many people. And what he was doing was such minute kind of stuff that the ship was maybe like this big, or so. Incredible detail. Absolutely beautiful. So go take a look at that. Some of these shipbuilders are incredible what they're doing. But he had the staying power in order to do it. If it's a monetary thing, again, it's a trade-off. Everything's a trade-off. Do you have the staying power to do it? And do you have the will, the internal will to continue on doing what it is that you want to accomplish without getting distracted, without getting frustrated, or without getting distracted to the point or frustrated to the point it's like, that's it. I'm kind of done. Because if you do that, you'll never be found. You won't have that staying power. You'll never become that overnight success. It just won't be. Those waiters and waitresses that want to become movie stars, singers, actors, actresses, if they're not putting their best foot forward all the time, if they're not bringing their A game every time they show up to their place of employment, in that city, in that town, in that section of the city where more and more people are going to that are in their movie or the singing industry, the performance industry, if they're coming to the work with the attitude, it's like, I'm just a waitress. I'll always just be a waiter or a waitress or whatever. And they don't really put that big smile on all the time, or they don't put that performance, their A game on all the time. That kind of takes that out. That's a loss of staying power on that side. And they'll never be found. They'll never become that overnight success. If you're not willing to put the work, the time, energy, and effort into it on an ongoing basis, even if it's a small amount of time, and then you got to understand that it'll take forever, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Has to go that route. So I hope I put enough time, energy, and effort into keeping my back in shape, staying in shape. I'm doing push-ups lately, riding a bicycle, and we'll see how much that helps me when it comes to shoveling the snow tomorrow. So the only thing I really ask is the snow folks, is that let's make it a light and airy and fluffy snow. That's fun to shovel. And then I get to watch these folks with the snow blowers and that 15-mile-an-hour wind or so that's supposed to come up. They're going to go with the snow blower. The snow goes in the air. It gets caught in the wind and it flies all over the place. And then they'll all look like Frosty the Snowman. And then, Mike, maybe what we'll do, we'll go take pictures of them as they're all snow covered and have a good time with it. Enjoy your journey, folks. If you're not enjoying the journey, that overnight success thing just won't happen. And you will become an overnight success, because I know that you will speak well. You will speak often, and you will absolutely live inspired for you to achieve your ultimate goals. Have an absolutely great day and a safe weekend.